This is an overview of the TOEFL reading test. We will go through some parts of it to discuss primarily what it's about and with some examples of what the test looks like and various ways of taking the test to your greatest advantage. Begin with what does a reading section contain and how long does it last? Well, the reading section contains passages on a variety of subjects. Following each passage are several questions about the passage. You will answer from 36 to 70 questions in this section. And you will have 60 to 100 minutes to read. The passages and answers, answer the questions, okay? You have a go of 60 to 100 minutes to read the passage and answer the questions. Before you begin this section, you will be shown how to answer the questions with the computer screen and mouse. The reading passages are similar to the one you will probably read and study in North American universities and colleges. There are three important differences between the reading section and other sections of the exam. The reading section is not computer adaptive. That means when you answer a question, say number 1, the computer does not select a more difficult or less difficult question for number 2. In the reading section, you are allowed to return to the questions and you have already answered, and you can change the answers. You are also permitted to skip questions and return to it later, which you can't do in the other sections of the exam. You will see the reading passage and the question on the monitor screen at the same time. The reading passage will appear on the left side of your screen and the questions will appear on the right side of the screen. Now there's a question to read or not to read. And these are tactics for helping you to make a better score. You will not be scored on whether you read the entire passage, okay? You'll be scored on whether you answer the questions correctly. It's not only probable that you can answer all questions correctly without reading an entire passage. It's imperative that you read only what is necessary to answer the question. So that you do not understand the importance of this advice that will be repeated. Do not read the entire passage before you start answering the question. Most questions will indicate which part of the reading passage is being asked about. Work through each passage, answering the questions, using the process we describe it in the following pages. 1. Read the first sentence of each paragraph and the last sentence in the passage. Now, in the following passage, read only the sentence in the boldface, okay? We will not do that during this explanation. I will make a PDF available to you so you can practice this, but we will go on to the next part of this. After you do read the sentence in the boldface type, now this is an exercise you will do yourself separate. You will ask the question, which of the following statements best express the main idea of the passage? And then it will give you choices A, B, C, and D. Okay? From your reading, and you will receive a copy of this, you should try to make your answers, without looking at the correct answer, okay? The correct answer is C, okay? By reading these 4 sentences in bold type, you have not only saved yourself time, but you also learned how to answer this question. You will be given vocabulary questions. Now, vocabulary questions are found in the parts of the reading passage that will be highlighted to correspond with the question. This is another reason why it is unnecessary for you to read the entire passage. See the example. You answer 3 kinds of vocabulary questions. In the first kind, you will see a word or a phrase highlighted in the text on the screen. This highlights the word or phrase as subject of the question. Look at the example. You will see the passage and the question on a monitor screen arranged this way. As you notice, you have in this copy, I think you can read it, that they have highlighted the word drop out of. Now look at the word highlighted in the text. And then below, you will then choose the closest meaning of the word drop out of. As you can see, you have 3 choices: drop out of, graduated from college, stop attending secondary school, scattered sheet music on the street, drop by his school frequently. Now, from the content of this passage, you will be able to determine what that means. Now, if you know what it means, it's no problem. But if you don't know what it means, you will be able to figure out the meaning of that phrase. Simply put, drop out of is an idiomatic expression. And as I mentioned, if you're not acquainted, you can still figure out the correct answer by looking at other words in the sentence. You can do this by mentally removing the words drop out of from the sentence and reading the sentence this way. Gershwin blank, schooled at age 15 and earned a living by making piano rolls, player pianos, and by playing in New York nightclubs. Then you will fill in the blank with a verb that completes the sentence, okay? So that it's logically and grammatically correct. The other words in the sentence contains clues. Now look at the words school at age 15 and earn a living by making piano rolls for player pianos and by playing in a New York nightclub. Now it should be obvious in most cultures that a 15-year-old person who earns a living by playing in New York nightclubs is not likely to stay in high school at the same time. But maybe some people can do that, but we'll take the logic that normally it's not done. So you choose a word or words that will finish the sentence correctly. It's important what words are, and they can even be words in your own language. As you can see, that a word you could put in there would be the word quit or withdrew from. Okay, if you're not going to school, the English word would be that you dropped out of, which is the equivalent of quit or withdrew from school. And as you can see down here, the correct answer is closest to it. They have B for quit. Another type of vocabulary questions asks you to read both these sentences and choose the correct definition of the highlighted words or phrases in that sentence. Once again, I'll say that. Another type of vocabulary questions asks you to read a bold-faced sentence and choose the correct definition of the highlighted word or phrases in that sentence. And as you can see here, we have highlighted who prompted interest in the sheet music of popular songs. Okay, that's a phrase or part of a sentence that you need, that you will be asked vocabulary words on. Look at the words promoted interest in the sheet music in the passage. We'll click on the word or phrase in the bold text that the word refers to. Okay? Now on your computer screen you will highlight those words and click them as you choose which words would you choose. Now you have examples up here of sheet music, song's popularity, song plugger. Now this could, for some of my students, could create a problem. Song plugger is a name for a particular occupation, which is someone who promotes songs, okay? And that is another problem. You'll need to sort of maybe figure that out during your reading, and I don't know any other solution except maybe what fits in there, how does that fit, okay? Then so the answer sort of more or less in this is, we're going back to the song plugger, which I sort of somebody who promotes a song plugger, and number C is the answer, who promote interest in the sheet music, okay? Then you'll have questions on pronouns. That's another kind of reading question, deals with pronouns. You will see a sentence in the boldface with a highlighted pronoun. And you will be asked to identify the noun that highlighted pronoun refers to. Now look at the example. We have he. He studied piano with a famous music teacher at the time, Charles Abitster. He was so impressed with Gershwin's talent they gave him lessons for free. Okay? He refers to what? Well, if we take a look at it, the correct answer, he refers to a person. That's an important thing to know. Not a thing, a piano or time or anything like that. He also does not refer to Gershwin, because Gershwin did not give lessons to himself. So he must refer to Charles Ambitzer. Detailed questions. You will have to answer detailed questions at least twice for reading passage. In these type of questions, you're asked about specific information in the text. First, read the question and find out what information you have to find. Then search for it in the text. Here you have the text that they want to read and to answer this question. The question, of course, according to the passage, who did Gershwin's parents buy the piano for? Okay, and then it gives you a list of possible answers. Of course, the correct answer is D, Ira Gershwin. The passage states that in lines 3 and 4 above, the passage states that Gershwin's parents bought the piano for George's brother, Ira. Look for the important words. Detailed questions contain important words that will lead you to the answer. They are not words such as George Gershwin or composer. They are words that specify the information that will answer the question for you. In the question, the words by the piano are the most important words to help you find the answer. Instead of reading the entire passage, scan the passage for these words. You can find it at the end of the second sentence. Look at the next example. We won't go through that. I'll send it and you follow the instructions as indicated on that page. According to the passage, why did George, piano teacher, give him the lessons for free? And then we have the various suggested answers, but the correct answer is B. The teacher was impressed with George's talent. And the most important words in the question are lessons for free. When you scan for these words, you will find them in the last sentence of the paragraph. Once again, repeat to yourself the most important strategy of answering questions and reading section. Do not read the entire passage before you answer. You will get questions with except and not, and this can be tricky. You have to be careful on how you read except and not questions, okay? All the following questions on mention as a member of the French Impressionists group except. And except means it's not, they are not included. They are separate from, except, okay? In this question, you look for the answer that names a painter which is not a French Impressionist. In this case, it is choice C, Rembrandt van Rijn. Whenever you see this kind of question, remember that the answer is the one that is different from the others. Sometimes an answer has nothing to do with the main topic. And the above example, choice C, might have been Honoré de Bolec, forget my French, who was French but not a painter. Okay? These kind of questions will ask at least 4 times per passage. Look at the example here below. When you have read that passage, made your choice, you can go down below and get the question. All of the following are reasons that George Gershwin became a success while he was young, except. Okay, and then they give you A, B, C, D. And as you can see, the correct answer is C. Okay, number C, he graduated from high school when he was only 15. And that is not true. To answer the correct question correctly, you have to determine the time period of each answer. And the text, in what order were the answers stated. If you scan the passage, you will see the order is A, C, B, D. Choice A and C appears in the first paragraph, where you read Gershwin studied with a famous teacher, which is a statement in choice. A, you also read that Gershwin's parents bought a piano for his brother, which means that Gershwin's parents did not give him a piano. Choice B and D give reasons why Gershwin became successful while he was young. Then you have questions with imply and infer. Now, know the difference between imply and infer. To imply something is to communicate an idea without stating it directly. To infer something is to understand the idea that's being communicated by another person, even though the other person does not say it directly. For example, Mildred said to Mark, Harry is moving to Japan permanently but he doesn't know how to speak Japanese. Mildred implied that Harry would have to learn Japanese. Mark inferred that Harry would have to learn Japanese. During the reading section, you will be asked questions that begin in the following way. It can be inferred from the passage that the author implies that the passage suggests that. Based on the information in the passage, what can be inferred about? The answer to these questions are always in the form of a paraphrase. It repeats an idea found in the passage, but expresses it in different ways. To answer these questions, first eliminate as a possible correct answer anything that is ridiculous and illogical. Also, eliminate any answer choice that introduces material not discussed in the passage. Answer choices that contain words such as always, never, and completely are usually incorrect. So you can eliminate them. If an answer choice simply repeats word for word a lot of material from the passage, you can eliminate that answer as well. Answer choices that are longer than the other answer choices are often a trap. Answer the following question. And here you have the passage. Here we have the question. It can be inferred from the passage that Gershwin became a famous jazz pianist in Russia. Gershwin admired the music of Franz Schubert. Gershwin disliked music by Kern in Berlin. And Gershwin never became a well-known musician. The correct answer is B. Gershwin admired the music of Franz Schubert. A, C, and D are not true. Gershwin compared the music of John Kern, who was his friend, so that of Franz Schubert. Okay? Questions with black squares. During the reading section of the computer-based test, you will have to answer questions with black squares. On the left side of the screen, you will see the reading passage with the following black square mark located throughout the text. Here. On the right side of the screen, you will read a sentence followed by a question. Where in the passage would the sentence best fit in the passage? Click on the square to add the sentence in the passage. When you point to the square and click the mouse, the sentence in the question will appear in the passage. This is a very different kind of question to answer, and you should not answer it until you have answered all other kinds of questions. To answer this kind of questions, carefully read the sentence and determine the most important words, usually found at the end of the sentence. Then scan the passage for the squares. Look at the sentences before the square and particularly after the squares. You will find that in the sentence to be inserted, the words at the end contain information that introduces the ideas in the beginning of the next sentence that is in the passage. Here you have an example of that, and we come, and you can see there's this passage, and then there is that black mark. Here. Okay? And here are more examples of that black mark. Okay? You have the question, the following sentence can be added to the passage, and the sentence is, however, Gershwin's income rose and worked harder and harder. And we ask you, where would it best fit in the passage? Click on the square to add the sentence to the passage. Now look at the ideas at the end of the sentence. However, Gershwin's income rose and he worked harder and harder. This sentence best fits at the place marked by the second square. With the new sentence inserted, the passage will read as follows. At that time, sheet music sales were measures of songs, popularity, and song players had to work long hours for the music publisher who employed them. However, Gershwin's income rose and he worked harder and harder as a result of his hard work. Okay, so forth. You can see that passage is added here, and there's a lot of information before that sort of indicates this would best go there. Now, summing it all up, do not read the entire passage. Begin each passage by reading the first sentence in each paragraph and the last sentence of the last paragraph. You should answer the questions not in numerical order, but in the following order as they are presented in this chapter according to the kind of question. All vocabulary questions, all questions that ask you to identify a noun or a pronoun, all questions that ask about the main idea of the passage, all questions with except and not, all questions with imply and infer. Then finally, all questions with black squares. Now this is the order, and the order according to the type of question that you should answer the question. As you can see, the last three, all questions with except and not, and questions with imply and infer, and questions with black square are going to be the most difficult. So the best thing is to attack the ones that are less difficult and to work your way down to these. Okay, this ends this discussion or introduction to the TOEFL reading question. Lots of luck, my friends, and hope you do well.